wonderful to be here, and I would like to introduce you to the art of Kintsugi, which is an ancient Japanese art about 500 years old. And the idea behind Kintsugi, and I don't know if I'm even saying it correctly, is that when an object breaks and we repair it, it's actually more unique and more beautiful when it's repaired. So with Kintsugi, as you can see in my slide, the broken ceramic is stuck together with lacquer and then it's painted over. All the cracks are painted over with gold. And this reflects back on our human flaws, our missteps in life, the things that go wrong in us, where we feel broken and we feel damaged. Actually, we're more beautiful and we're more unique because of our amazing individual stories. And life doesn't always go to plan. Things fall apart every so often. And I always think it's not about how many times you fall down, it's about how many times you get back up and how well you get back up. And I also have this little theory of my own, that if you're going to fall backwards, don't fall forwards. Because if you fall forwards, you fall into a black hole. If you fall backwards, you can see the light, you can see the sky, and you can pull yourself back up. And there is magic in new beginnings. I think we get a bit afraid of when things go wrong or we want life to be perfect. But it's not about perfection, it's about keeping going. And you know, when things go wrong and we have to change and we have to pick ourselves back up, you know, there is magic in new beginnings. We need to embrace new beginnings and look forward to them and not be fearful of them and know that we're strong enough and big enough and bold enough that we'll come out the other side. So I think at this stage I'm probably a seasoned rebuilder because I think it's happened so many times. But I have personal experience of a long time ago, one day deciding, right, today is the day. Today is the day I run for my life. And I was in a fairly abusive situation. I was never allowed to sleep all night. I was told what to eat. I was told what to wear. I wasn't allowed to go to work. I had no money. And I was just, how did this happen? So I decided, right, no more will I be anybody's punch bag. Nobody else is going to kick me around again. I'm going. So I ran for my life, literally, fled for my life, and I went into hiding for whatever length of time it took. And about a week later, I woke up one morning and I said, okay, right, it was 7 o'clock. I looked at the clock, it was 7 o'clock, and I said to myself, right, I have two questions for you. You know the way sometimes you can talk to yourself as though you're an outsider? So I have two questions for you now, Liz. And you are not getting out of this bed until you make a decision. And once you make that decision, you are acting on it today. So the two questions were, and it went on for 4 hours, are you living or are you dying? This literally, for 4 hours, are you living or are you dying? Are you living or are you dying? And eventually at 11 o'clock, I pulled myself out of the bed and I managed to put one foot in front of the other and just little baby steps. Just little baby steps. And that's when I really consciously, for the first time in my life, consciously rebuilt. I know we all do it from time to time. Things go wrong, you pick yourself up. But this was a fairly minus starting point. So I had to get strategic about rebuilding. So since then, I now fondly refer to it as the art of rebuilding. Because I think prior to that, when things had gone wrong, I'd probably just rebuilt subconsciously, but this time I had to do it carefully. And the first thing I discovered was there's no point in rebuilding from the outside if we don't rebuild from the inside. So I had to do both, first of all. And I had to stop and think and say to myself, right, there's no point in flying off forwards. You've got to stop and think and build strong foundations for yourself. And that's where visions and goals are so important, because I realised if I had a vision for where I wanted to go, then I needed a blueprint or a map of how to get from where I was to where I needed to go, which I wasn't really sure where it was. I was still at the baby steps stage of all that. But rebuilding is good for us. Rebuilding strengthens us. When we're on cruise control, we don't really learn that much. We don't grow that much. But when we're challenged and we have to drive ourselves a little bit forward, then we learn as we go along. And I learned such valuable lessons. Like, there is wisdom in every tear. You know, we've got to light that fire inside us and decide who we are, who we want to be, what the best version of ourselves is going to be. So when it comes to rebuilding, you've got to kind of ground yourself first of all and know that change is not easy. It's worthwhile, but it's not easy. And I also discovered for every 3 steps forward that I took, there was at least 2 back. And it takes time and it's slow. And yeah, it's tough. But we do it and we do it. We pick ourselves up and we'll go get again and again and again. So how to rebuild? First of all, know where you are and where you want to go. Then think about your own values, your own personal beliefs, and align yourself with your own goals and who you are, and make it happen. Shock yourself, shock everybody else, and go for it. What have you got to lose? And it's not going to be a straight road, it's going to be this way and that way. But things happen. You know, we never know when the black swan is coming. We never know when there's going to be a curveball that'll just take the bottom out of our worlds. And we can't stay down for too long. We've got to get up and go again. So rebuilding, things like you have to think to yourself, who do I want to take with me? Who's coming with me? It can be hard because sometimes you outgrow yourself. So it's like, who am I letting go of? What am I not taking forward with me? Who do I want in my life? What's draining me? What's exhausting me? Who gives me energy? What gives me energy? What am I letting go of? Who am I letting go of? These can be really painful questions, but how do you move forward without it? So I remember one night, or one morning actually, I had to travel down the country for work, and I decided to get up really early in the morning, and I decided it was in the winter, and I thought, oh, I'm not travelling late at night, I'm going to go to bed early and get up really early. So I got up really early, around 3 o'clock in the morning, and I drove to the south of Ireland. I drove to Cork, and I was about 40 minutes outside Cork, and as luck would have it, I got a puncture. And I've been driving since I was 16, having a notion how to fix a puncture and having an intention of figuring it out. But here I was in the middle of nowhere, in the absolute dark. And I am in the AA, and I thought, I can't put in ringing the AA, I don't even know where I am. So I walked, I got out of the car and saw a sign, and I thought I'll walk down there about a quarter of a mile, read the sign, and I thought I'll turn and go back to the car now I can ring the AA. And as I turned, I fell in a pothole. And my keys fell on the floor, and there was a big ditch. If I fall down there, I'm dead. And I was on my hands and knees, and the other way I've said to you not to fall forward, but I did. I fell forward, and as I fell, the keys fell out of my hand. Now I am groping around the main road on Cork, in the middle of the night, looking for my keys. I'm all cut and bleeding and everything. Anyway, I found the keys, and I stood up and I walked back to the car. And I thought, there you go again. And I remember being on my hands and knees, looking up at the sky and saying, in the name of God, God, what did I ever do to you to have me down here again? So the rebuilds can be small things, and they can be little things, or they can be huge things. But either way, we have to keep going with them. And I got back into the car, walked back, got back into the car and sat there, rang the AA, and apparently a lot of people had punctures or snow or ice or something. There were ages coming. Then a police car pulled up beside me, and this police car drove by, this very good-looking policeman in the car, and I thought, great, he looks like a fine strapping young fella. He can get out and fix my puncture. And he came out, he was really annoyed, and he said, "What are you doing here?" I said, "I have a puncture." And he said, "That's all very well." He said, "But I'm after getting about 5 calls in from people saying there's a woman creeping round the road, the main Cork road. And so what are you doing here?" And I said, "Oh, go away and leave me alone." But that was just like, I thought back to myself, well, right, okay, here I am now. My customer's not going to believe me when I rang her at 7 o'clock and said I'm sitting on the side of the road with a puncture. I knew she didn't believe me. I knew she thought I was still in bed. So I thought, well, right, okay, well, I better just go like this. So then I went with, cut hands, closed, bleeding and everything. And just now do you believe me? So how often do we fall down and not really think about it? We just pick ourselves up and we go again. I didn't really think about that till I got home that night, and I was thinking, oh God, I could have fallen the opposite way, and now I'd be dead or cattle would be eating me or something, or I'd be down over there. So, but we have this innate ability that no matter what happens us, we will pick ourselves up and we will go again. And what I'd like to point out tonight is we don't celebrate that enough. We don't say to ourselves, that was fantastic, I did that. And no matter what happened, I got to work that morning. And you do all day, every day. Little things go wrong, big things go wrong. But we never stop, we just keep going. And no matter how deep we have to dig to find what we need to keep going, we absolutely do. And you know, there's pain in heartbreak. And heartbreak will bite you and it will take you back to your core and it'll peel you right back to the bone. But when things go wrong, it's to remember that heartbreak is only a stepping stone. It's just a little stepping stone that brings you to the best version and the biggest version of yourself. So I think when things go wrong, it's really important to stop and to celebrate just how far you've come, just where you were, and how you actually picked yourself up, did what you needed to do to get yourself to where you want to go. So maybe just to have a little think about what are all the things that have gone wrong, things that go wrong and you say, I will never get through that. And yet you do, over and over and over again. So it's not what happens to us. It's not what somebody else took away from us. It's what we do with what we're left with. Yes, our past is part of us. It will always have an amount of power over us, but we use our past to go forward and to really create the life that you want for yourself. So I'm just going to finish. I'm going to borrow a few words from Maya Angelou to finish. And it's just one of my favourite verses. You may shoot me with your words. You may cut me with your eyes. You may kill me with your hatefulness. But still, I'll rise. I'll rise. I'll rise.